According to the BELA Act, early childhood development educators are required to have at least a diploma beginning of 2026. There has been concern that implementing this requirement in a space of a year would collapse the entire childhood development sector. To discuss this, I am now joined by Makhi Feni, who is the chairperson of the Select Committee on Education, Sciences and Creative Industries. Thank you so much for your time. I think for context, let's discuss perhaps why the BELA Act found it important that from next year onwards, there be at least a diploma or degree for those within the early childhood development sector.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers, and then also happy festive season. Going to the question that you are asking, I think the context of that is around the question of quality early childhood education. It doesn't falter in that context that for us to be able to have a quality of teacher complement in your ECDC, you must have people who are relevant for that particular task, which is hence the requirement from 2026 onward will be a diploma and your degree.
Yeah, but your committee is, of course, warning that this could cause some serious disruptions within the sector. What are the risks with the fact that, members, educators have about a year to be able to have these degrees or be able to have these qualifications? What are the risks with this rush?
Indeed, the committee have raised, some serious caution if this implementation of will be stringent, in the sense that, remember, it's a transformative process that we're embarking on. It therefore needs, a process that is going to be, properly implemented, so that we do not find ourselves in a chaos. Our issue is that if it's going to be abruptly implemented, it's going to cause some serious chaos. On the question of we will be having a lot of your labor disputes, because you have people who have been there for the past 30 years who have been doing the particular work, but with no necessary required skills in the form of your degree and your diploma. Therefore, the question is, what do you do about those people? Then what is important is to how you are processing and you facilitate, a process of introducing the necessary qualification standard and in the ECDC sector. It is going to assist. Hence, we're saying there must be proper engagements within stakeholders. It must not just be, a once-off process that is going to be, implemented. Indeed, we appreciate, the efforts. We appreciate, but we are saying there are a lot of challenges that we're still confronted with. It must be introduced as such.
And let's talk about those challenges that are still confronting, particularly the early childhood development sector. We've done many stories of some ECD centers that lack the basic resources to be able to provide that necessary foundation of education for children. And so perhaps maybe the question I'd ask for the community, is it an issue of priorities when you talk about some of the challenges? What are those that are facing them? And perhaps do you think that those should take priority over this issue of qualifications?
Indeed, we still have a serious problem of infrastructure, as we are speaking, across the board when it comes to the question of education. And remember, in terms of the BELA Act that we've passed last year, is not the question of opening up a can of worms to the current challenge that we're confronted with. We are saying as a committee, let's sit down, let's look on as to how are we going to address, for instance, the question of infrastructure. For you to enable the requirements to be implemented, you must address it. The question of your as your tools, tools of trade that you will need to utilize. If you do not have necessary classrooms, you do not have your tools of trade and the conducive environment also that you are introducing your requirements onto must be addressed. So as we are correctly raising that, what is important is how you are prioritizing it, so that you avoid all these unnecessary, challenges that can confront you if you are going to be stringent. Hence, we are making a call to the minister to enable all the stakeholders that are involved. You called your unions, even the teachers, so that you do not have a chaos when you are expected to implement. It is indeed part of a transformation, and BELA Act is clear that if there are any points of disagreements, whenever that will be implemented, whatever that will be implementing, then there must be a mediation process that must take place, so that you don't find yourself in chaos. We understand that we are still lagging behind in terms of the necessary, infrastructure, specifically infrastructure. As we attended, around November, we were on an oversight in Eastern Cape, Amatole. We identified some lot of challenges, and those challenges have not yet been addressed. We are still in the process of ensuring that we are addressing those. Our kids have no kitchens. They are still starting, on shacks. It's a situation that really, for now, needs, proper processing. I like your wording of the question of prioritization is going to be critical. Therefore, BELA Act is there, is guiding us. It must not be taken as an end in itself, but it's a process. It's a means to an end. So if we understand it as such, then it's going to assist us in terms of moving forward.
Yeah, and of course, an attempt to professionalize the sector, but ultimately it is going to be a balancing act, if you will. Makhi Feni, thank you for your time, the chairperson of the Select Committee on Education, Sciences and Creative Industries.